in your brain, you're in the nuts domain. Come on in, it's about to begin.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerds Domain podcast. I'm Matt, and I'm here with Shirley.
Hello.
And Jesse.
Howdy.
And this week, it's a Whatcha Doin, where we talk about what's going on in our lives that's geeky and fun. And we'll start off with books. We always hit books, podcasts,
right,
games, apps, and TV. Or movies.
Not necessarily in that order.
Always in that order.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, I never paid attention.
This is like What You Doing number 22 or something. It's always been in that order.
I don't remember either, Jesse. It's all right.
Oh, I love you guys. So, I'll start out with books.
All right.
I have been reading The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich still.
Whoa.
It's a lot of book. It's a lot of book. A lot of book. It's really interesting, though. It goes through literally the rise and fall of the Third Reich, looks at the social implications, why it happened, how it happened, what led to it, both economically for Germany, and how World War I really set it up, and it is very interesting. It's written by a journalist that was there during parts of the Nazi regime and was reporting on it, but so far I'm maybe 10% into the book, and I've been reading a ton.
Wow.
So far it's been a lot to cover.
Yeah, you've been going through that for how long now?
Well, I started reading it, and then I stopped, and then I restarted. I am past the point where I was at last time. So, I mean, there's that. The other thing I've been reading, because that's a little dry, I'll be honest, is I went back and picked up, or I found Unscribed, but there's no E in Scribed, just for the record. It's an app that you can get, at least for iOS. I'm not sure if it's available on Android. But you pay, I want to say it's like $10 a month, and you have access to all of their books. And they put comic books on there. I think I've talked about this before. But I went and read the continuation of the original Marvel G.I. Joe line. So that went issue 1 through 154, and then there was a second set of books called Special Missions that had its own monthly title. So this picks up, I'm going to say 1 through 155, because 155 and a half is where it picks back up, and then there are just bunches and bunches of stories.
What's it called again? What's the app?
It's called, Scribed. Scribd.
Yep, it appears to be on Android.
Awesome.
If it's the same thing.
So, the story picks back up almost immediately. It's weird because it's written in the 2000s. I think it's written 2008, 2009, but it's still written in the the late 80s, early 90s style. So it's like Larry Hama, who wrote the original stuff, just picked back up on it again. And art style is a little different. I think they have a completely different artist. It's a little more modern, but the stories are still the same confusing mess that they were. If you didn't know G.I. Joe before, this is not the place to jump in, because there's a lot there. But it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it pretty well. Shirley, what are you reading?
I am, right now I'm reading the 4th book of the Mists of Avalon series.
Okay.
It actually goes back into part of book 2 and 3, and goes over the life of a single priestess, which we usually haven't seen that before.
Okay.
We usually see from the side of Avalon looking out onto the world, and the world progressing from the time of Boudica all the way up to Roman occupation.
Okay.
Started in Britain. And this book is actually coming from not first person, but a story about one of the priestesses that we heard about in past books, and following her through her life and beyond. And this, I'm actually maybe a third of the way through.
Okay.
So I'm still pretty at the beginning of the book.
You say this is book 4. How many books are there in this series?
7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been reading this series for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole time I've known you.
Yes. So it's one book a year.
No, it's one book for every 7 years.
One book. No,
Yeah.
I've read. This is my 4th book.
And we've been together how long?
7 years, I think.
7.5. Anyway, what are you reading? Anything else? The answer can be no. It's not.
Well, no, but I'm getting ready to start. It's spring, so I'm getting ready to start reading my herbal compendium and gardening books. So
Okay.
just start all that kind of gardening good stuff.
Okay. Jesse, what about you? What are you reading?
Well, I'm going to cheat. I got a video game with a whole lot of text. I've done this once before for a game called The Wolf Among Us by Telltale Games, and this is another one from Telltale Games called Tales from the Borderlands. This is a visual novel-style game set in the world of Borderlands. It's got great character depth, interaction, and building. I love the storyline of Borderlands, but I never could get into the gameplay.
Okay.
And this is a good way of doing that. I highly suggest this for anybody who has any interest in Borderlands, whether they've played the others or not. Although there is a lot of spoilers for Borderlands 2? Yes, 2. Involved in it. But yeah,
Is this the guy with the gas mask?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Okay. So, I mean, is that, that's the only thing you've been reading, Jesse?
It is.
Not even school books?
Well, classes are almost over. I've kind of stopped reading the books and just going with the flow of the tests.
Not even the B books?
Not yet. I have learned that our neighbor is deathly allergic to bumblebees, so he is getting ready to move. So we're waiting to not kill him.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. I'll start on podcasts. Shirley, we're gonna skip you since you don't do podcasts.
Yeah, I don't do podcasts.
You're a pod
right
quitter.
Now. I'm not a pod quitter.
You're
I'm just
pod
like
quitter.
not time for pod.
Oh.
So Matt, what podcasts are you listening to?
I just listened to 4 episodes in a row of Film Sack, which will lead me to a app they suggested that I'm going to suggest to people here shortly. They covered the recent movies they've been covering were Blade Runner, The Saint, Aeon Flux, Eraser, and then Contact, which I forgot how much I like Contact. We need to watch Contact again soon. Contact.
That's a podcast I'd completely forgotten existed.
Film Sack?
Yeah, I need to go back.
You like Contact?
What?
I love that movie.
No, I know, but we haven't watched it lately. That's it.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Did you know Carl Sagan wrote a sequel to that?
Oh,
No.
really?
Yep.
What is it?
Pale Blue Dot, I believe. He also wrote Contact, but
Yeah, he wrote Contact. That's his book.
but I think it's Pale Blue Dot is the
Oh, you're
sequel.
talking about a book.
Oh, yeah, it's a book. It's not a movie.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got
So I've been listening to that. I jumped back a little on what you missed in history class, but they're covering things that I just don't have a lot of interest in, like the history of knitting. It doesn't really do it for me.
But it's knitting.
Yeah, I know. And I usually skip their interviews, and they've had a couple of those lately. Not a huge deal, just, something I've been kind of skipping over. And I've been listening to a little bit of Top 5. They just did Top 5 comic book story arcs, which that was really good because there was some good stuff in there.
See, I wasn't a fan of that one. I couldn't finish it, but it's because I don't read a lot of comics.
That's fair. Well, it gives you some good ideas of what comics you might want to consider. So that's how I saw it. But those are the three podcasts I've been listening to. I'm trying to keep up on those at least. I have a bunch of other podcasts that I'm listening to that or that are downloading every month that I'm not necessarily listening to. But that's how that goes. Jesse, what are you listening to?
Well, I think it was one you talked about last month, but when I started it, it is all I have been able to listen to ever since. They end on cliffhangers every single time, and it's a podcast called We're Alive.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the zombie apocalypse and a group of survivors and their constant struggles. And like I said, it's an absolute great podcast. It has an ending from what I've heard. The character growth is pretty decent. The only problem is it will always end on a cliffhanger, and it's only like 12 to 15 minute length podcasts.
Yeah, they're pretty
Oh,
short.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But it is until you have to constantly start another one every time it's done.
Can't you just tell your app to
app.
just autoplay?
No. I can, but then it starts
strange.
playing ones I haven't finished. And I'm a bad listener who doesn't necessarily listen to all the ads at the end of a podcast.
I see. Okay, fair enough. What else? Is that all you're listening to?
Like I said, it's been taking up pretty much all of my time. I have
really?
listened to a couple episodes of Fallout Off the Record I talked about last month, and what's it called? Angry Chicken, which is the Hearthstone podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk about that when we get to the apps.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that sounds great. Shirley, would you like to start on games for us?
So there's this amazing RPG I'm in. It's Masks.
Do you want to talk a little more
Nyarlathotep.
about it instead of just say that? Because not all our
Masks
listeners
of
listen to that.
Nyarlathotep. Right now we're getting ready to go to Germany.
So it's a Call of Cthulhu podcast.
Call it Cthulhu podcast.
By the time this comes out, we'll have been in Germany, and somebody may or may not have burned down a house.
Maybe. I'm not giving spoilers.
Okay. Is that the only game you're playing?
Yes. I don't.
Wow.
Am I?
Super boring. Super
this
boring.
Is like tax season, the end of tax season,
That's
which
true.
means I'm the LARP.
Oh yeah, we're
I'm
LARPing.
playing on Tavern Keeper, which is really awesome.
Yeah, Johnny mentioned that. Oh, it's been
Yeah.
a year and a half ago now, I think.
Tavern Keeper. That's where Vampire Chronicles. That's the LARP that we're in.
Yeah.
We just had a game last night, which will probably be months from now for you guys. And this is the second game I've been to in this series, and it's getting really interesting.
It is.
I'm not sashimi because that's sushi. I'm a
Zamishi. Yeah, it's a pretty good game. Tavern Keeper itself is interesting. It's not perfect by any means, but considering it's free, it's really freaking good.
Yeah.
Keep track of all your role play and character sheets and comments between you and the GM and everything. I like that ability. I like being able to go on there and seeing what our GM has posted. Yeah. And I like that I know I can go somewhere to find out when the next game is and where it is because it's right up there in the corner when you go to the dashboard. I like to be able to the downtime actions in the forum. Being able to do that role play. I like to be able to comment on the card or the role play as they go without interrupting the role play if you want. Right. Like that's a huge deal. Yeah. Because it kind of pops up that comment card and then you can turn it back over and it's in the role play. And it doesn't break the flow either. The flow there. And you can play multiple characters. Which I'm doing, so you can flip back and forth between them and have a conversation with yourself if you really wanted to. But you can involve yourself with multiple characters in the same scene. That is a big deal. Yeah. So, I'm a big fan of Tavern Keeper. I think it's solid. Yeah. Is that really the only two things that I've been playing? Yeah. Did we pick up any new games? I'm not telling you because then you'll steal mine. So I'm not playing anything online right now. I don't think. Matt, I recently played a game called Labyrinth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, over at Johnny and Jasmine's. Oh my gosh! Oh god! See, that's how I like. That so we played. We played 5 days ago. No, it's been a couple weeks ago. We played Labyrinth. It was a very interesting game. So it's a board game where each of you controls a wizard. You're trying to get to certain squares for the cards that you match. Be there, then collect all six of your cards and go back to your starting spot. However, every turn you slide a square.
All the different players.
Yeah, every turn, every player, when it's the start of their turn, they're handed a square and they place it onto the board, which shifts everything else. Imagine like it's like a weave. So some of them go left and right, some of them go up and down,
right?
And you could every turn you have to move it. So it's like a labyrinth. It's an ever-changing labyrinth. So sometimes you can completely block another person from going where they were going. It's a very interesting. It reminds me of a little bit of Suro and Suro of the Sea with that squared feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older game, but it's really good. It wasn't super high strategy, but there was a lot of strategy. Yeah.
So look up Labyrinth. Who is it by?
I don't know.
God, I keep wanting to say Paizo, but that's not it.
No, it's not Paizo. And then we also played Steampunk Munchkin.
Yes.
Which was interesting, fun. You could put your sword cane with other canes that you can have a gun cane and a sword cane, and with a sword gun cane. So that was fun. It was, it's another Munchkin. As much as those are fun,
right.
I occasionally enjoy that. Did we play another game while we were over there?
Yeah, we played one of my favorite, Gravwell.
Oh, we played Gravwell. Yes.
Yes.
So
my
this
gosh,
one is put out
amazing.
by the same people who put out Penny Arcade.
Why don't you look it up really quick, and I'll tell them about the game.
Go ahead.
So this game, which I totally forgot we played, but is one of my favorites. So basically, it's hexagonal, teeny little hexagonals. You're a ship, and you start in the middle of this quote-unquote gravity well, and you have to escape the gravity well before, your demise or whatever. So it's played with a deck of playing cards, not a deck of playing cards, but there's cards in it like a deck of playing cards, and they're all set out except for like 3 of the cards, depending on the player count.
I don't know.
And so one is face down, one is face up, and some of the cards push you, some of the cards pull you, some of the cards
pull everything else to you.
Pull everything to you. So you have to pick up these cards in anticipation of what everyone else is doing to try to get out of the gravity well, which it spirals around the board 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3. And then you get out into open space.
But you can only move, when you move against whatever's closest. So if you're pushing away and what's closest is someone in front of you, you actually push yourself backwards.
Yeah. So you have to be careful of where you're at and kind of try to look at the other players and see where they're at on the board and what they might play to anticipate, moving forward to get off of the board the quickest.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting game because you have to plan your turn and everybody reveals at the same time. All the cards are numbers, the direction it's pushing, and then a element.
Right.
And you go in alphabetic order for the elements. So if it's an A goes first, Z goes last. So if it's
Argon
goes first, Xenon goes, or I'm sorry, not Xenon, it's something else, whatever the Z was.
Yeah.
It goes last, and then everything's in between. So if Shirley is pushing off of me, and she's an A, she goes first, and then if I'm pulling off of her, I will pull up to her. But if I pushed off of her, it could screw up everything. It's a really interesting game. It's put out by Cryptozoic. That's the name of it.
There's a lot of strategy involved.
It changes
it's a lot of fun.
Immediately.
Yes, immediately.
Every round, and there's 2 derelict ships, or you'd never get out of there, I don't think. But the 2 derelict ships move along with whatever's going on. So if you pull everything towards you, the derelict ships come towards you as well. So they help propel you at some points. But it came down to that one. I mean, we were all really close together, almost the whole game. So it's a really good. I like Gravwell quite a bit.
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes you have to plan to propel yourself backwards so you can pull off of everybody else forwards on the next round.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like chess a little bit.
Yeah, you have to set yourself up so that you can do other things later and hope that it actually works.
Yeah,
and then you have to bet with what the other person's going to do, because if they put down a push card, that's great, but if they go before you, that could screw up everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I love that game.
Yeah, I like Gravwell quite a bit. Those are the games we played lately.
What else have you been playing?
That's it. No, I'll touch that on apps.
What?
Oh, you're gonna okay.
What about my game?
I was
Well,
going to you next,
Jesse, it's
Jesse.
your turn.
Jeez.
You said apps.
Wow.
Oh no, I asked him what about the other games he was playing. He said he was
I
going to
see.
talk about that
Man,
during.
it's like Jesse's super needy.
Yeah.
So about apps. Go ahead. Go ahead with games, Jesse.
Jesse.
Oh, I haven't been playing any games. No.
What?
No.
Kick your butt.
Honestly, I've been playing this little game called Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Still.
Mhm.
I'm doing a second run.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to do a second run.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm doing an Institute run this time.
Okay.
The first time I played it, before I got to Diamond City, I was level 20.
Oh,
By
yeah.
the time I got to the final battle, I was like 45.
Well, that's it?
Yep. This time, I was at level 16. I was in the Institute,
Oh,
and I finished the game at 24.
wow.
And it is a lot more challenging.
Well, yeah.
The fights were a struggle. I did it on a harder difficulty also, but I don't think that was the big part. But I never went looking for more stim packs or extra ammunition, so I was always low.
Oh, okay.
And the first time I did the Battle for Bunker Hill, which is
It's terribly hard.
kind of a mid-stage battle. The first time I did it was super easy because I didn't make anybody mad at me. I just walked through and shot synths in the back of the head. They never turned on me. This time, I made sure I was fighting the Brotherhood of Steel to start with, and if I hadn't bought a Gauss rifle, I couldn't have hurt him.
Really?
Well,
Yeah, I guess if you're not super modded out by that point.
yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking either. This is my Institute run, so I did only laser weapons. I sold all my other ammunition. Power armor has a strong immunity to laser weapons.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But
Okay.
I'm having a lot more fun this time around.
That's fair. Have you been experiencing the expansions?
Yes, I have. There's one, the latest one, that just kind of Wasteland Builder, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 4 hours building a death arena.
Yeah.
I captured a Deathclaw, and I captured a Mirelurk. And I was told it scales up to your level. So you could get like an albino Deathclaw or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
What is this like?
So I did this in
for,
it's what?
I said, what is this like Pokemon for?
Yeah,
Oh,
a little bit.
Because now I have a village completely overrun with cats, but that's a completely different story.
Oh my goodness.
You know you can kill those. They have cat meat. You can cook that.
Yeah.
But I unlocked the Deathclaw, and it was an albino Deathclaw, super powerful. I opened up the Mirelurk, and it was a Mirelurk. It just exploded in a powdery goo.
Yeah.
And then the Deathclaw found a gap in my wall and started attacking my villagers.
Well, how was there a gap in your wall, Jesse?
It wasn't big enough for anybody to walk through it, but apparently it was enough for it to glitch up it.
Oh.
And my
Yeah, that'll
turret
do it.
aggroed it from a distance.
Wow.
That was it turned hairy, and I had to revert to my save of all the way back before I built the arena.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That sucks.
yeah. So the arena thing's a bit buggy anyway, from what I hear.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I had not walled up my settlement yet, and the legendary Deathclaw just wandered into Sanctuary?
No, it got in.
Yeah, and somehow one of my settlers had a fat man. And that was the end of that Deathclaw. But I'm very lucky I didn't lose, like, the entire town.
Yeah.
Because I'm fiddling around, like, making weapons, and I hear people shooting, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And I didn't have hardly any turrets or anything. And I turn around, I'm like, oh, shoot, that's a Deathclaw. I should get, like, a rocket launcher or something, or get a good weapon, because, this is going to take a while. And then suddenly there's an explosion, and I was like, oh, huh. Well, at least they weren't close.
How do you give your villagers?
I don't know. I think they took it out of my
Oh.
workshop, because that's where I was storing all my weapons.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
It's terrifying. Because
It is.
What? That your villager helped you?
No,
because
that it had that
because
power.
if he has a fat man and a guy walks into town and there are 7 other people that are good guys next to him, and that guy suddenly turns hostile, they'll just fire the fat man. They don't care if anybody else.
Yeah,
is
no,
there.
your friend.
I could lose everyone all at once. I mean, literally, it could go bad.
Oh my gosh.
I unloaded my
You
gear
need to lock your weapons up.
on my companion Nick Valentine one time, just a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't realize I'd given him like 5 Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
And there was like this little rat showed up and attacked us, and then everything was just on fire.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. I'm like, oh, I need to unload gear. I'll unload these plasma grenades. No, I won't. They also use mines. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're sneaking. I'll put down some mines. No, don't do that. We're running backwards, and there are mines. Yeah, those are all terrible. So, yeah, good games. Shirley, you want to start apps for us?
Yeah, I definitely want to start apps. So I'm going to start off with...
If you say the Weather Channel, we're moving on.
So there's this app called the Weather Channel.
So, Jesse,
No, so I'm kind of going to do a production one, then a fun one, and then my most favorite one.
Wow, you got apps.
Yeah, so I got my Android, and, like, I've gone app crazy. Uber, we really haven't talked about Uber before, but there's, when you download the Uber app, there's Uber, but there's Uber XL. So if you want, like, a Mercedes to come and pick you up, you just click over to Uber XL, and you'll get a Mercedes to come pick you up.
And it will double your price.
There's that, but it's a Mercedes. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, Uber's pretty cool. I've been using that a little bit, especially when I was in
Uber attaches to your... If you're not familiar with Uber, I will give you a brief explanation because not everyone is.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially a taxi service, but not a taxi. It's individual drivers that have been verified by Uber. Mm-hmm. And they charge by a rate that's pretty comparable.
No,
Actually,
right.
it's much lower than what the taxis pay or charge, and... usually they're pretty quick, and essentially you go, oh, I want an Uber ride, and it sends out a ping, and the first person to answer it gets you.
Yes.
So it's competitive as far as that goes because everybody's trying to get there. The downside I've seen with Uber, and I think this is fair for them, is that during high peak times, they will up their rates that they're paying out to encourage drivers to come out. So a ride home from work, and I had this happen, that would have been $10 or $9, because I've had it as low as $8, was $25.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that happens. It was a Saturday night. It's my own fault, but... that's
Saturday night, yeah.
That's... What were you saying?
Does the app warn you when the price changes?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
If you're like, I need a ride home, it's like, hey, by the way, the rates are going to be a little bit higher, and it gives you an exact... Yeah. Like, I think it was 1.8, and then it took us a little longer to get home because it was bad traffic. So, I mean, they warned me ahead of time, and then I just was like, I got to get home.
And you don't have to carry cash. I don't think any of them carry cash, so it attaches to your
actually,
card.
they don't allow them to carry cash.
It attaches to your credit card or your debit card or whatever.
Or your PayPal account.
Card.
I mean, we'll pay straight out of there.
And you actually can load different cards into it. I found this out when I was in North Carolina because I was on a business trip, so my boss gave me his card number, so I loaded that when I was on business, and then I just switched back to my card when I was doing personal
You
drive.
can friend each other through Uber and then share rides too. So Jesse, if you, me, and Shirley go somewhere and we're going to split the ride 3 ways, I just say, okay, this person, this user, and and it's done. You don't even have to worry about paying each other.
Right.
Oh, cool.
So it's useful.
Ways.
Go ahead with your productivity app.
Okay, so one app when I was in North Carolina, I found because we kept going out all the time, and at most of the bars, they replaced the jukeboxes with what these things are called touch tunes, and it's the electronic jukebox that's in the wall. Well, they have an app for that. So you just download the app, you can sit at the bar, sit at your table, and you tell the touch tune machine to play whatever it is, and you just attach your credit card or debit card to it, and you can sit and program the machine from where you're sitting at in the bar.
Right on. Okay.
Which was awesome.
Cool.
So my next app, which is my favorite app right now, is I got a Fitbit.
Oh my god.
And this thing is amazing.
Jesse, go ahead and take a nap.
What?
She's not going to stop talking about this.
Okay,
just
so...
Get a pillow. Close your eyes. I'll wake you up in 45 minutes. Go ahead.
All right, are we ready? Okay, so I got the Fitbit HR, and the Fitbit HR attaches via Bluetooth to your phone, and it can show your text. I have a Galaxy S7, so the Galaxy S7 isn't read because it's so new by the HR, so I'm not getting text yet, but it does have the abilities to show you text. But what the HR does is it tracks everything about your fitness all day long. It tracks your steps, it tracks your heart rate, it tracks how many hours or how many steps you take within an hour, your miles, calorie burned, floors that you walk up, how many minutes you've been active, because you can, like, I can walk across the room 3 or 4 times and have 1,000 steps, but I've only been active for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So it tracks your active minutes. If you go for a long walk, jog, or bicycle, it will track that for you. You can put in your weight, and it will track how fast you lose weight, but that's something you have to put in manually. And what I think the most amazing thing that I found out about the Fitbit and the app is when you go into the app in the morning, if you wear your Fitbit to bed, it actually tracks your sleep. It tracks when you wake up in the middle of the night and go to the restroom as being awake. It tracks if you wake up, because I think it goes off of your heart rate. If you're restless and you turn over and you're not sleeping soundly, it tracks that. And then it also tracks you sleeping soundly. It tracks your water intake and calorie intake and output. So you can build up your food, I guess I would call it your food pantry list or whatever. But I've had this for a month and a half, well, going on 2 months now, and this has helped me keep track so well that I've lost 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, I love this. It's on my wrist, so it keeps me accountable. And it's on my phone, so it keeps me interacting with what I'm doing throughout the day through my Fitbit.
And it's got badges.
Yeah. Oh, it's got badges and trophies.
Yeah.
If you have friends that have a Fitbit, you can challenge them to goals per day, or like on the weekend or throughout the week, and whoever gets the most amount of steps the quickest or reaches that goal first is the one that gets that trophy. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Fitbit itself, it has an alarm on it. You can set that through the app on your phone, but it has the time, your heart rate, your steps, and stairs walked, and then calories burned.
Yeah.
So you can see that either on your wrist or in the app.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I don't know that I would want the Fitbit because I think it's bulky and ugly, but...
Well, there's different types. I have the HR, and I got the HR because I wanted the text ability.
Oh.
So as soon as they get the programming worked out to where I see the text, I'll be able to see
you're
the
like,
text.
I got
on
it for
my
the
Fitbit.
thing I cannot do.
Right, but then I started using it for the things that this thing is just so amazing, and the what is this called? The icon.
Your widget.
Okay, the widget that's on my phone, there's 2 different types of widget. There's the little circle that says Fitbit, but then there's a widget that actually shows your steps as it syncs with your Fitbit.
Yeah.
So I like that one as well. So that is my favorite app of this month.
So now that we've heard about that for 4 hours, I have been playing a game called Star Trek Timelines a lot. They just had their first event. So Star Trek Timelines is essentially a click and wait game. It really is you go on missions, assign people with certain skills to those missions to complete them. There's also space missions, and you have ships that you can build and get schematics for. It is very much a use your energy, come back later kind of game. But when you use all your energy up, you can still send your people on away missions, and you get things as they're gone. So there are things to fill that time. They just did their first event, where everyone was competing together to get as high of a rank as possible. I didn't do great, but I was in the upper half of the players, so that's, kind of cool. And I got a bunch of cool stuff, and so since it's Star Trek and it's timelines, the idea is that the timelines are intersecting and it's being all weird. So you get all kinds of characters. So you're getting stuff from all of the TV episodes, or TV series, and the movies, and you're getting different versions of them. So you can have two Miles O'Briens. You can have the Mirror Universe Miles O'Brien, the regular Miles O'Brien, and that super special Miles O'Brien. And they can all be on your team, and they can all go on the same away mission if it needs that many engineers. That's, whatever.
Doesn't that create a paradox?
Nope. Because the whole thing's a paradox in Q.
Wow.
Also, there's Q.
It's
Q's
not
in it.
realistic.
Q's in it, and voiced.
By John Delancey.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
Cool.
it's not realistic. It doesn't create a paradox.
It's Q. Anyway, it's a good game. It's fun. It has a paid resource in the game that lets you get more stuff. But unlike most games where you buy once and you're done, this one has pay. I want to say it's $3.99 a month, and you get 100 of these resources every day.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
that by
nice.
itself, because for like $10 you get 700 of the resource. They're called dilithium
Right.
crystals. So you get 700 for $10, or you pay $3.99 for the month and you get 3,000. You just have to wait for it because it's every day.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think that I like that subscription a little bit better than the one-off buys. Although I'm not patient because you have to save those up to use them for things. It's kind of dumb. Anyway, no, it's a good model. I like it. That there's another option there at least. The other app that I just found today, thanks to FilmSec, is called Just Watch. So, Jesse, you might want to take notes. I'm not joking.
Okay.
So, Just Watch looks at all streaming services and digital purchase services. Asks you, when you go to it the first time, it says, which ones of these do you have? And it's got, your Netflix, your Amazon, your Hulu, your HBO, Showtime, Apple Store, Amazon Store, then it's got Vudu, PlayStation, it's got the Microsoft Store, and then it's got some stuff like Crackle and Epix and Stars. It pulls from all of those and some others, including one with a penguin, which I don't know what that is. And then it tells you, what's coming out. May 1st, Family Guy Season 11, and South Park Season 7, and Seinfeld Season 3 are all coming to Hulu. It's telling me that right here. And so I can see what's coming out and what's updating on all of these. I can filter it by TV show and movie. I can look and see what's popular right now. I can look and see what's been in the theater, and then I'm looking at Deadpool right now and click on it, and it'll tell me, I can go over to the Apple Store or the iTunes movie store and buy it there for $14.99. I can also get it on Google Play and the Microsoft Store for $14.99. It tells me where to get them and where to buy it. I can look at price drops, and it'll tell me the prices that are dropping and how much for either rent or buy. It's really, really good. So, if I'm I want to watch a movie, where can I find that movie? I can literally just go up to the search and put in, RoboCop. And what I didn't know is that RoboCop from 1987 is playing. I can stream it on HBO. I could rent it through a bunch of places. I can buy it through a bunch of places. And it gives me the price for each of those. So and you can choose HD or SD, so high definition or standard.
Very cool.
So it's really good, and as far as that goes, I haven't played too much with it. I just got it today, but I really like this app because now when I'm we should watch this movie that we don't own, where can we get that? At least I can see if it's not streaming where I can rent it or where I can buy it. So I think that's going to be a big plus for me for a while. And since, Jesse, I know you have a couple of streaming services.
Yeah.
That might be something you're interested in, because then it saves you from having to go over and open up iTunes or open up Netflix and
I know.
go to the stupid search. Now you can just search one place and it tells you everywhere.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds pretty good.
Jesse, what about you? What about apps for you?
Well, I've been playing an old favorite called Hearthstone. It recently came out with a new expansion called Whispers of the Old Gods.
Oh, of course it did.
Nice.
So when they mix Cthulhu with my
Oh.
favorite card game, I go all in. And yeah, it deals with the 4 old gods of World of Warcraft, which are based heavily on H.P. Lovecraft's mythos.
Nice.
And they introduced a new format called Standard and Wild. They're kind of doing the old Magic thing, where only expansions 2 years old are in a certain category, which is the Standard, and everything's allowed in Wild. So Goblins and Gnomes, I think it was, has been moved to Wild.
Okay.
So it keeps it kind of moving around. They've slowed the game down a lot. They've had some big, beefy characters, and they reprinted some of the older characters as corrupted versions of them. They changed a little bit of their abilities. They add tentacles to the artwork, and it's all good.
Right on.
Very cool.
I also
any other apps?
Well, yeah, but it's not really going to help anybody. Wood Forest National Bank has an app for their bank, and I use it almost every day because it tells me exactly what I have in my bank account.
So do you like Wood Forest? I mean, I know not very many people are going to know what that means, but...
I like Wood Forest. Wood Forest is a good bank if you work for Walmart or if you're above a certain age bracket. If you're not, it's a last chance bank, so they charge for everything.
Everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're one of the other two categories, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So if you ever quit Walmart, you'll be getting a new bank.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Unless I need a last chance bank, and that's always possible too.
Right on. Okay. Any other apps, Jesse?
That's it.
All right. I'm going to start on movies and TV.
How about Jesse gets to start on
Jesse will
first?
start on movies and TV.
Well, I finally got around to watching Deadpool. And it's a good...
What took you so long?
I wanted to watch it at the house. It seemed like the kind of movie that I wanted to be able to talk through. And
Yeah, it's fun, though, right?
It is, absolutely. I couldn't imagine sitting silently in a theater and enjoying it as much as I did. But then again, everybody else's reactions would have probably also fed on that feeling.
Yeah.
I was worried it would go a touch too R-rated, since it could, and it does in parts.
Yeah, but it's not, gratuitous.
No. And it stays true to the character.
Well, I take that back. It's not any more gratuitous than just regular Deadpool.
Exactly.
I mean, it's Deadpool, so yeah.
And Colossus, the character I know is just a big giant metal thing from Russia, has decent characterization in this movie, and I'm actually interested in the character now.
Oh, that's him. I mean,
yeah,
well, let me rephrase that. That's early Colossus, because by the time you would start reading about him now, he's become jaded and...
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, so... you know what?
We're not going to go into the history right now.
We're going to start a new segment right here, right now. It's going to be called X-Men Corner.
Oh my god!
So Colossus starts off as this happy-go-lucky guy, and then his sister comes along, and turns out she's a mutant. She gets aged up in hell. It's called Limbo in this, but she gets aged up in Limbo, which is where she teleports to. That's her magic power, or mutant power.
Sounds like a bad power.
She gets sick with the legacy virus, which only kills mutants. It's essentially AIDS. It's an AIDS allegory. Mm-hmm. Gets de-aged and dies.
Whoa.
Before that, Colossus since he's so powerful, he's like this super nice guy, he ends up killing a couple of people, not on purpose, but because he's like protecting people and so on and so forth. And it starts to really wear on him. And by the time you got to Avengers vs. X-Men, he was jaded and angry and ready to kill people, and he became one of the hosts of the Phoenix Force during Avengers vs. X-Men. It was just... It got bad for him. And I don't know where he's at now because I'm not reading the books, but... no, I do. He's on the Extraordinary X-Men. He has a beard now. And it turns metal when he turns metal, which I think is ridiculous and perfect.
That is awesome.
But that's like responsible adult, unjaded Colossus. And
did you say he turns metal? I thought he was metal all the time.
No. He can unmetal, but he didn't in the movie. I don't think the actor would have fit well... the voice actor, because he was essentially CGI the whole time, which he looked really freaking good. Mm-hmm. Because this wasn't like, they're in a dark place, so the CGI can get away with a lot of stuff. Like this, they were bright, sunshiny days out for most of that. So
Who was the girl? The teenager?
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Is that a real character?
What the heck is
Yes.
her name?
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic Teenage
Warhead.
I liked her.
It's
She was
either
awesome.
Negasonic or Megasonic. I can't remember. I'm looking it up, actually. But, she's essentially that snappy and irritating in the comics, but
Sarcastic.
she was so much fun.
She
Yeah.
was.
It is...
So what did you like out of the movie?
Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I'm just going to say it one more time.
Jesse, what was your favorite
Negasonic
part?
Teenage Warhead. Go ahead.
What?
Right? Huh. Now I know how you feel.
What? Go ahead. No, go ahead. What were you saying?
Jesse,
Negasonic...
Oh, my God. Jesse, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, I like pretty much all of it. I'd have to say my favorite part was... Oh, you put me on the spot here.
Just say I liked all of it. It was good.
Well, I did, but I liked his reaction to the bad guy getting away on the bridge that he stabbed through the shoulder while Colossus was arguing with him over if he should kill it or not.
Right? That was funny. Okay, anyway.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I think it did everything it was supposed to do and was quite enjoyable. My favorite MMA fighter was in it as Angel Dust, the beefy guy or girl that was fighting Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She's she did a lot of stuff like way back in the day.
Yeah.
So
She does it for you?
Yeah. No, and not like that. Like she's just like the only one I really know. And Ken Shamrock. But that's because of wrestling, and that's a whole other thing.
What's a shamrock?
Ken Shamrock. His name is Ken Shamrock.
Oh, I thought you said she can shamrock.
No,
and I was like, is that a wrestling move?
Yeah, well, no, I don't know.
Whoa.
No, it's a solid movie. I really enjoyed it. It's got a lot of Deadpool in it that fits well. It was heartwarming and heartbreaking.
Ryan
at points.
Reynolds was good.
Yeah, it
oh
really
my
was.
gosh.
And I know we're
Good
like
actor.
2 months late on
like
this.
perfect.
It'll be 3 by the time this comes out. But I really appreciate the movie. Now that it's out for purchase, I'm really considering purchasing it.
Yeah.
As a person who doesn't typically buy movies, I am too. But I am worried about the new Wolverine film now, though.
Why?
Because they said that it might go for R-rated also, since this one did so well.
I'm okay with that though.
I don't know.
That's a very violent potential.
Yeah, but Wolverine's got a mouth on him, and he's a rated R character.
Yeah. I mean, Hugh Jackman has played him very PG-13 because that's what he needed.
That's
but
what they want.
I honestly think that they finally understand the X-Men and they're getting it right in each step, and I don't have a problem with what they're doing.
I just think that this might be going down a darker path that'll lead towards problems later on.
Oh, this is Wolverine's last movie.
Well, I'm not necessarily
Hugh
saying for
Jackman's-
Wolverine. I'm saying for other superhero movies.
No, because there are some... If you're worried about that, then you should have been worried about Blade, because they were all R-rated.
Most people didn't realize Blade was a comic book movie.
Okay. I mean, that's a thing you could say, but so was Watchmen.
Yeah, but everybody knew that was...
I think that the R rating applies in appropriate places.
Maybe.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah. Anything else you've been watching, Jesse?
That's about it.
Really? No TV? No.
Well, there is, but nothing
TV?
really newish. I mean, Big Bang Theory when it's on. What?
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Archer.
Yeah.
Archer?
Yeah.
Archer, new season's on.
I'm not caught up, but Archer's so much fun.
Oh my god.
It is.
You guys are so childish.
They're like detectives now.
Childish.
they're the keyword being like.
Yeah.
Shirley, what have you been watching?
So.
I started this new show and I've already watched 2 whole seasons. Go ahead.
I haven't watched 2 whole seasons.
Almost.
Season and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what have we started? We finished the first season of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
We watched all of iZombie.
No, we watched the first season of iZombie.
The first season of iZombie.
Did you say second season of Jessica Jones?
No, first.
Okay,
is that worth watching? Because I tried to get into it.
I will say it is not
dark.
it's not a superhero movie. It is it has people in it with superpowers. It's it's very dark.
Yeah.
It deals a lot more with social and mental implications, emotional implications. I liked it, but we had to take it slow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I couldn't get in the first episode. I can't think of who the villain is right now, but I know I like him as an actor. So
David Tennant?
David
That's
Tennant.
it. So I'm going to
I
force
would
myself
say-
to watch it, but...
I would say it's only 13 episodes, Jesse.
Yeah.
Just push through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna meet Luke Cage, who is getting his own series, and he's gonna be a lot more fun.
Is he the one who fights the Foot and the mystical demons and stuff, or is that...
That's Iron Fist, but Iron Fist and Luke Cage are a partnership, so that's why you need to watch this to see Luke Cage, to watch Luke Cage, to get understand Iron Fist. They're all going to become defenders, Jesse. This is important.
I hate you.
You also love it, don't you?
I do.
I know.
Okay, so, but my favorite thing that I've been watching lately, oh my gosh, words and stuff, is Salem.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I binge watched the first season. I couldn't get enough. I'm not sure if it's middle of the second season and I'm still not sure about Mary Sibley. Like, every single episode she cries for some reason.
Hey,
and
emotions.
I'm just like, why she gotta be a whiner?
When you're an evil witch, sometimes you have emotions.
But, like, it just seems like, I don't know. Anyway, but my favorite character in the whole series, which I hadn't realized she was going to actually play all the way through, is a character named Mercy.
She was crazy.
She is
Crap.
Guanu crazy. Like, just crazy. I mean, crazy to the extent of crazy. And in the second
I don't even
season,
think that's not
like,
even, no, you back
no,
up. You
it's like-
can't say she's crazy to the extent of crazy.
it's
Let's give us an actual...
crazy to the infinity of crazy.
So what does she do that is her craziest?
No, I can't. I really can't do any spoilers. So this is a
it
rather
would be heavy
new
spoilers
series.
because,
yeah.
I have watched parts of it. It's hard to follow if you haven't watched it all.
Right.
It gets very in-depth. It's essentially the Salem witch trial time period.
So what they actually have done is they have taken the Salem witch trials and Salem as a new founded, not thoroughly established colony, but the new founded colony, and they have turned it into what if all of the stuff that everybody said in history was true.
Yeah, there's a lot of witches in this.
And they're not good witches. There's not a single good witch in it, and it's middle of the second season so
They make
far.
a dude eat a toad. It's awesome.
Well, it's one of the
it's
curses.
not painting them in good. In a good
Well, the thing is,
they're sympathetic villains.
Because I
in some
mean,
places.
the reason why they're doing what they're doing is a good reason, but the way that they're going about doing it is, a little questionable. Bringing back Lucifer,
a little question.
a little questionable. But I like it. I'm very aware of religious tolerance and things like that. But once I started watching it, I was very leery of it. But once I started watching it, I was like, oh, they're just, it's someone's interpretation of, oh my gosh, what if this really happened? What if all of the mythology or the myth of the Salem witch trials and the witch hunts and everything were true? Because they bring in like Boston and Andover and different towns around the area. Anyway, it's a truly amazing series. Second season, they actually bring in Xena.
Warrior Princess?
Yeah. Lawless. Lucy Lawless.
I better say, because it sounds like it could go either way.
They bring in Lucy Lawless, and she is amazing because she plays a bunch of different characters, different named characters, because she's this like timeless witch. But one of her characters is Bathory, and just think about what that means in regards to some of the things she does during the series.
She takes a lot of baths?
Do you remember what she's... Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying. Anyway.
So another question.
Yes.
Do they use the actual names of the people who were tried as witches, or do they?
Some of them, yes, they do, but then they do go beyond that scope.
Yeah, because
not in a bad way. They just there comes a point where the story's over if you just go by what was told.
Yeah. So they have to definitely expound upon that. They use because some of the history is with Tituba, the black slave, and she was the one who brought some of the stuff over from Africa as a slave, and they expound upon that a little bit. Yeah. So
it's interesting. Yeah. It's a little
not historically.
It's a little on the slow side, much like Vikings can be at times, but I don't think it's nearly as bad. I haven't watched it. I've been busy doing other things while Shirley's been binging it. But
would you classify this as an action film, a drama, a comedy?
It's a drama.
Okay.
There's a little bit of funniness here and there, but
when they stuff a frog down a dude's throat.
Yeah, that's a little funny.
That's hilarious.
No, I would say drama.
Yeah. All right. So I guess I'm going to roll us out with the final thing that I've been watching, so you don't keep talking about Fitbit and Salem.
Yes.
We're going to get you the Fitbit Salem hour here soon.
Ooh.
Awesome. So we got caught up on Game of Thrones, so we had to watch that last season.
Yes, we did.
Shirley cried.
Oh, it's about time. You only cried once?
God.
When Jon Snow died.
Oh, yeah.
Like, seriously.
I'm sorry. Listeners at home, spoilers. So we haven't gotten through the first episode of the new season, but we're also
they threw some major shockers into that one, even for book readers.
They did
because they went off canter a lot.
Well, it's okay. I'm good with that. That way,
the whole Stannis thing. Oh no, John gets murder stabbed.
Murder stabbed, great.
But Stannis is a lot more heroic, and he doesn't burn his
child to death.
Daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, that was, like, Matt and I are just sitting there aghast.
I knew it was coming.
I couldn't barely breathe. I was like, this is not this is not happening. He's going to ride into town and he's going to save her, and this is not happening. And yeah.
See, he's as much a hero character as Jon is in the books. I mean, he's the rightful king.
No, he's not. No, not the rightful king.
He's Stannis the Manus. I mean, it's just
Stannis the Manus.
Nope, the rightful king died at the Red Wedding.
Yes. Oh God, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we caught up on that sort of, and then it started again. We haven't watched that episode. Dawson's Creek, though, because I am a giant fanboy of Dawson's Creek. I grew up with it. That is on Hulu, so I've been binge watching that. I've watched all of the first season. Whoa. There was only 13 episodes. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But it's typically I put it on in the background and then kind of look up at it when I'm doing other things. It's a teenage drama. They have a lot of big words in there, which is a little frustrating because I don't remember being this irritated by it. But it's decently well acted. It's decently well written. It's overly dramatic. They put in issues of the week kind of thing, ooh, now there's a hurricane, and guys, come on, it gets better as it goes on. There's a lot of teenage angst. I have enough teenage angst built up in me now. I could turn back into a teenager, but I'm enjoying it.
I will ground you.
Yeah, whatever. Do what I want. You're not my real mom. So I've been watching that. I really think... Oh, no. We watched... not Criminal. We did watch Criminal.
Yes, we did.
What was the other... Spy Game.
Spy Game.
With Brad Pitt and that guy, Robert Redford. Haha.
Ha, you remembered.
And it was very interesting. I'm not sure how we missed this movie. It's from 97.
Yeah.
It's Jesse, do you like spy thrillers?
Older.
Yes.
You should watch Spy Game.
Spy Game. Oh my gosh, it's really good.
Seen it. I don't remember. It sounds familiar.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when we were watching, I was like, I have seen this, but
I had never.
Yeah. So I mean, other than the other movies we watched specifically for another podcast, that's been the big parts of it.
Oh, Sharknado.
No, we watched that for other podcasts. Yeah. Sharknado 2001. Alien and Fido. Jesse, watch Fido.
Oh my gosh, Jesse.
Jesse, you'll love Fido.
Yes.
Fido. It stars Billy Connolly as a zombie.
It's amazing.
It is so good. Jesse, go look up Fido.
I remember seeing commercials for it. He's like treated like a dog almost, right?
Yeah,
Like
the commercial does
so
not.
So much more than that.
Oh, really?
The commercial does not talk to the movie.
Yeah, not even.
It's so good. Anyway,
touch it.
Fido, yeah, that was good.
What'd you think about Sharknado?
It was a B movie. It was all right. It wasn't bad. Have you seen 2001?
Maybe. Is that the?
Chocolate
yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Yeah, man, it's a long one. I've never watched it in its entirety in one sitting, but I have seen the whole movie.
That's all right. Surely I haven't done that either. Well, yeah, yes, you watched all of it at once. I got up right before the intermission and had to go to work. So, yeah, I think that wraps us up, right?
That's fine.
Yeah. We're gonna do new segments in this called "Somebody Knows Too Much Corners," where Shirley talks about witches from the Salem era, or Jesse talks about bees,
or you talk about Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Not just Marvel characters. I got G.I. Joe information I could expound upon for hours. You guys should be listening to our other podcasts because they are fantastic. If you're not aware of where they're at, you can go over to nerdsdomain.com/nerdcasts. We will be launching a new podcast here sometime soon called "A Nerd Walks Into a Bar." We're trying to figure out what that looks like, but we will be recording that live in Indianapolis at Tappers down in Fountain Square. So if you have a chance on a Sunday night, I'd say sometime June forward, come on out, and we'd be happy to see you. If you come in through Indianapolis and you're not going to be there on a Sunday night, just stop at Tappers anyway, because it's free arcade games and beer. Not free beer. Not free beer.
Wow.
You have to buy the beer.
Free arcade games.
But free arcade games, that's going to be amazing. Yeah, so you should be definitely listening to other podcasts because they're great. We have, lots of fun over on Masks and lots of science fiction fun on There Are Four Lights. And,
yes.
We don't do a lot with Go Fund This right now because it's still kind of in a hiatus while I get everything else under my belt. But we got lots of stuff coming up. And don't forget Gen Con and Indie PopCon. We're going to be at both. You can find us at Indie PopCon. We'll have a booth there. And you can find us at Gen Con. We'll be running games there. The event catalog has just come out by the time this is released.
Right.
So you should be checking that out and booking for either Horrors of New Year's Eve or the Gadsby and the Great Race. Or if you're a podcaster, you can go to the podcast networking event. Either way, I think that'll do us tonight for the Nerds Domain podcast. We will talk to you guys soon.